Hi guys, I just wanted to do a review of a film that I went to watch yesterday, The Kingmaker. The Kingmaker is a documentary, if you like, following an interview by Imelda Marcos and her following campaign during the 2016 vice presidential campaign. She supported her son Bongbong, and this involved her attending a number of rallies and meeting supporters, and this was that story. So the interview was basically not making accusations or basically saying anything directly to Imelda Marcos, but the interview portrayed Imelda Marcos, as I believe, as a cheat, as a swindler, and having stolen money. There is no evidence of this. There's never been any evidence of this of late. The recent case, only a couple of days ago, for 200 billion pesos, was junked. The situation is that I believe, yes, there are stories from both sides, but I believe there are a lot of positive contributions that the Marcos family made during the time of their reign. The Philippine General Children's Hospital, the PICC, and a number of buildings that are still standing. I'm also of the view that the Thriller to Manila fight, where President Marcos brought the Muhammad Ali to the Philippines, I think was very instrumental in putting the Philippines on the map. So the question is, I'm not really going to focus too much on the Marcos era, because quite frankly, I don't really know much about that time. But what I really want to focus on is that particular film was used as a way of promoting the Liberal Party and making accusations of fraud against the Marcoses and against Bongbong Marcos as well as also promoting the then vice presidential candidate Leni Robredo, who later on went to become the vice president of the Philippines. It seemed to be painting her in a good light and painting the Liberal Party in a good light. And I do worry about that. There's two sides to every story, and I feel there wasn't sufficient balance to also make accusations against Leni Robredo and the Liberal Party as well. The documentary was heavily slated against the Marcos family. But not only that, the documentary was advertised as a portrayal of Imelda Marcos and the Marcos era. But later on, it went on to make completely spurious and false allegations against President Duterte. The president made a number of speeches and continues to make a number of speeches clamping down against drugs, clamping down against corruption, and improving life in the Philippines. And this particular documentary focused on the president's threat to kill anyone who encouraged Filipinos to take drugs. Now you have to look at it and you have to understand that Shabu is a very nasty and a very powerful drug, and so many people have committed offences whilst under the influence of Shabu. And the fact is, there's been a general crime decrease in the Philippines of 16% since the introduction of President Duterte's term of office and his campaign against illegal drugs. And yet these are the positives, in that less people are taking drugs, there's less corruption, there's less poverty in the Philippines, and Filipinos have given President Duterte a satisfaction rating of over 80%. But this particular documentary does seem to be at least financed by the Liberal Party or supported by the Liberal Party, because it focuses on all the negatives and it doesn't show what life is really like for Filipinos. It didn't interview OFWs, it didn't interview anybody from the Presidential Communications Operations Office, it didn't interview anybody from the presidential government. Instead, it just focused on this false narrative that basically the Marcos era was a... Yes, there have been issues, I won't deny that, but what I'm saying is it aggravated that, and it made Imelda Marcos to be somebody who was stealing money. You know, this thing about the 3,000 pairs of shoes, you know, she was given many, many shoes. She didn't go out and buy 3,000 pairs of shoes. She was given a lot of those shoes. You know, I think it was making fun of Imelda Marcos, and I think it was actually really embarrassing the family. But not only that, again, it focused on President Duterte, it focused on the opposition, and it supported the opposition, it supported human rights activists, it supported the Liberal Party, and it was just an excuse to bash the president of the Philippines and to say things about him. So I don't recommend that you go and see Kingmaker. I believe it's a Liberal Party propaganda tool. Thanks so much for watching.